What's the motherfucking deal? Don't call it sauceline right now. I ain't finna answer that call if y'all call that shit. You know, players fuck up. Sometimes that shit be popping up. But what's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to Sauce Sports. If you're not familiar with Sauce Sports is a Houston, Texas homer network. Means we talking all sports, but only Houston. As you can see today, we're going to get into a little bit of conversation about the Texans versus Eagles situation. Again, glad you're all here to join us. So I apologize being a couple of minutes late. I had forgot to change a couple of little settings on the dilly dally. I forgot when I switched up the dilly. Yeah, the gal ain't worried about that shit. Anyway, let's get into the conversation, man. We have a couple of gentlemen from the round table joining us this evening. So who do we have in the mix with us tonight?
You got your boy Swisher in the mix.
It's that number one shit talker, Toxic City Titty, baby.
Yep. Well, look, everybody getting all these shout outs, and I done muted everybody. Ain't that about a bitch? Oh, we finna run through it real quick. I got to give you all love, so I apologize. Like I say hi to T-Mac, Gilbert, A-Side, ASOT23, Quincy Jones, Haley, Nathan King, S.A. Steve, Edwin Baptiste, Roman, it's your boy Roman, Seth Clark, one half of the greatest moderating couple in all the land, Miss Voodoo C, 335, what's the motherfucking deal? That boy Los, gaming with T-Stroke, Kenrick Randolph, what's the motherfucking deal? H-Town Sports, Anthony Montez, let me see that boy Los. Let me see who else. Look. Hold on. Look. Play us fuck up, man. Look. I got y'all. Texas Diablo. What's the motherfucking deal? I seen shout out to Bronzeville. Shout out to the South Side. Seeing shout out to Gilbert. He said he was a first time listener. Let's see what we got. Let me see. And make sure Dre D, Real Swift, Chewy. Let me see. Shout out Ferocious, Trail Monger. What's the motherfucking deal? All right, so here is the dilly dally, and I apologize. Like I said, if I missed y'all, I wasn't trying to dish y'all. Oh, Voodoo. Oh, there goes. Oh, I didn't see you there, Voodoo. Hey, how's it going, Voodoo? I didn't see you. Shout out to Voodoo Man, and shout out to Michael. What's going down, man? So, like I said, let's get into the conversation. Let's get into the topic. I apologize. Like I said, I was a few minutes late trying to get everything in order, but let's discuss it, man. Texans versus Eagles. A few points that we need to look at, a few things. I've been arguing with Eagles fans for the last few hours, maybe a day or so. They on that nonsense. They back on that bullshit, but it is what it is. So, looking at the Texans right now, 10-4, trying to fight to hold down the number 2 seed in the AFC South, and hopefully things fall their way to get fortunate enough to maybe fall into that first seed. It may take a few outrageous opportunities, but it's always possible. Never count anything out. But trying to hold that down, trying to hold down the division, because technically the Colts and the Titans are still in it, mathematically. The Eagles just want to be invited to the party right now. They won it all last year and then fell all the way to fuck off. And, Foles comes in and they're able to have some success against the Rams. And I think what happens with that is, honestly, it's the backup QB theory. We've seen the Texans struggle with backups, and I think you get a lot of film. You're looking and you're working and you're hoping for one particular guy. I think that Wentz goes out. Sometimes you underestimate that second string guy. Sometimes you're not properly prepared for the second string guy, and so you kind of got to do things a little bit differently. And I think they came in with a proper game plan for the Rams. And a lot of people say, well, the Texans and the Rams, they're similarly built. They do some of the same things. I don't necessarily agree with that. But like I said, we'll get into that in a little bit more detail. Again, just kind of looking at the records, and people say, well, the Texans, they haven't beat anybody, they haven't done this, they haven't done that. Well, the Texans have a few teams over 500 that they've beaten, a few teams right at 500 that they've beaten, and then a couple of teams that probably should have been better than what they are. I.e., the Broncos should probably have been a lot better than what they are had they not lost Sanders. And they won a lot more games than you want to give them credit for. But again, Broncos were not a bad team. But then you look at the Eagles record, and they've beaten the Falcons, Colts, Giants, Jags. They beat the Giants twice, Redskins, and most recently the Rams. Rams probably being the most significant win on that. And you can say, well, who have the Texans beat that is as good as the Rams? This is true. But the Rams aren't on our schedule. You line them up. Hey, you never know what happens. But just looking at these two teams, man, I'm going to start with Tenny. Kind of want to know your thoughts. Looking at what the Eagles were able to accomplish last week against the Rams, do you see them being able to pull off a similar feat against the Texans, or do the Texans bring a different skill set to the table that may be a little bit more of a challenge for the Eagles? I
can see the game going the same way, just because we're not a kind of team that's been really letting people walk over us this year. It's going to be a fight to the end. I mean, whether you like it or not, both these defenses up front really do know how to get after the quarterback. And I know a lot of people hate on the fact that Jadeveon Clowney isn't posting a whole bunch of astronomical numbers, and he's not in that conversation with Donald and Mac. He's right behind him. I mean, he gets the TFLs. The only person that's really getting the glory over him is J.J. Watt, but J.J. Watt has always done this. He's always been capable of getting the sack, the one that matters the most, not the TFL. And it's just the way that they're playing off of each other right now. I know last week they had some struggles trying to get to Darnold, but also Darnold was really good at knowing when to run. And he was really getting outside the middle of that pocket when everybody would get washed off. And as far as Nick Foles, I really don't think he's going to handle that well. Now, he does get rid of the ball quickly, So I expect him to check down a lot. I don't have any problem with that in this game. If they could check down and get his ass to check down and go for the short shit that don't matter, that's really going to help this game. And this defense can really shut this team down. I mean, the most dangerous parts of their team is Darren Sproles, Alshon Jeffrey, and Zach Ertz. Those three guys are dangerous parts, and it's just one of those situations, again, where you cannot let them succeed off of what they get. Zach Ertz can get you a first down. Alshon Jeffrey can get you a first down. Darren Sproles can get you a first down. So, I mean, if they're getting first downs continuously and succeeding off of it, then we're going to fail. But as far as going into this, the Texans defense can set this up a lot of the way how the Rams played it and kept this a low-scoring affair. And that's all we really have to do is keep it a low-scoring affair and not let them get out of hand this week.
Basically saying the Texans just need to keep things under control, try not to let this game get too far ahead of them. And kind of maybe you see it being another kind of ugly situation, kind of like quite a few of the games that we played this year, kind of keeping it close, kind of grinding it out, and then maybe towards the end having to kind of pull away or kind of maybe having to execute a little bit better and solidifying the win. Are you seeing something like that?
Yeah, man, I would take an ugly-ass win. Take any win that was ugly this year. I would take an Indianapolis Colt win from earlier in the season. I would take a Cowboys win earlier in the season. I would take that win in this situation because the Eagles are not playing bad football right now. And to be in the situation where we can protect something important like the second seed, this is a must-win scenario for the Houston Texans. Bill O'Brien has to face his demon of being inside these situations, being faced with these situations, and really taking the bull by the horns and controlling what happens. And it really does start with him. He's the only one that's been around here for 5 years. It hasn't been Deshaun Watson. I mean, even J.J. Watt, he has to get to that next level because in games like this, he tends to be a little quiet. We need to see the players that we have take over this game. We need to see the coaching take over this game and really fight it tooth and nail to the end.
And I can agree with that. Now, Darren, I want to know your thoughts, man. Looking at this Eagles team, how do you feel about this team with Foles at the helm? Do you think that has kind of reinvigorated this team? Because I've seen Chris Long made the shrine to Nick Foles in his locker or whatever, had the fucking Jesus candles and, had the Nick Foles book in his locker and, all that other crazy shit. So do you think that this team is really feeling like they've been rejuvenated by bringing Foles back, a similar situation to where they were last year, even though they were winning more last year? Do you feel like, in a similar fashion, how the Foles came in late last year, took them to the promised land, that they can do it again? Do you think that they are feeling some type of way with Foles back at the helm? What are your thoughts on that one?
I definitely think that, with wins going down, it bothered them. But Foles was the guy that won in the Super Bowl last year. And looking at what this team and how they're constructed, you would think that they would have more wins on the column, and they don't. But, that's neither here or there. Now, looking at they talent, it's crazy. You would think, No, I scratched that. Looking at this team, they definitely open it up, with Foles versus with Wentz, because Wentz was just targeting Zach Ertz and the tight ends and whatnot. With Foles, he's taking advantage of everybody. Alshon, Aguilar, Dallas Goedert he's taking advantage of all of his weapons, and it's like, who do you defend? And it's like it's just a matchup nightmare, man.
Okay, and that was a very good point because I saw something earlier and somebody was talking about I think it was Westbrook he was on one of them shows earlier, and what he was saying was that the difference between a guy like Foles and a guy like Wentz is Wentz having a little bit more mobility and being able to do some things and being a little bit more crafty, that he's kind of off schedule with the plays. But a guy like Foles is going to execute exactly as the play is drawn up. And so players are more they're able to, basically understand what's going to happen better. They don't have to kind of adjust. They don't have to kind of operate on the fly. And kind of when he said that, it made me think about Deshaun Watson, and it made me think about this Texans offense, because again, a lot of the plays are the line breaks down or Deshaun may be holding the ball a little bit longer. We have a lot of plays where routes take a significant amount of time to develop. And sometimes, when he's under pressure, he has to get up out of the pocket and try to make something happen. And again, so it's kind of off schedule, or it's kind of appears to be a broken play, but he still is able to make plays. So I wonder, if that has had any kind of hindrance, again, with a little bit of the inconsistency that we had. Like, we have the relationship with Hopkins. We're not worried about that. All you have to do is put the ball in anywhere in Hopkins' vicinity, and he's going to come down with that. He built that relationship with Will Fuller, but Will's not here. Do you think that could be a reason why it took a little bit of time to develop, or still maybe take a little bit of time to develop with DT, and then, getting adjusted to a guy like DeAndre Carter because Kiki hasn't been available? So I look at some of the things that have been missing from our offense, or maybe have been a little bit inconsistent, and then, maybe a new body here, a new guy coming in and having to adjust to that type of playing style. Maybe that can be a reason why sometimes some of these little slight misconnections that we've seen that, could have been big plays, or could have been, again, first downs or whatever else it may have been, are just not quite connecting. Do you think, Tenny, I want to get your opinion, do you think that could be a reason why this offense hasn't quite clicked all the way we expect to see it?
No, man. I think what's happening is that the offensive line talent isn't up to snuff for these plays. A lot of our plays take time to develop. And quite honestly, if we had like a 5-star offensive line, then you wouldn't see him go off script a whole lot. And you would see Deshaun Watson basically run the play like it should be. And then if need be, if there's like a coverage situation where everybody has a man on top of him and he's got to wait, and if that doesn't develop, then he can move outside of the pocket and create something and get it going. But, as far as this season goes, it was just – I think, yeah, we've got 2 games left. So, I could say with confidence there was a front office issue that didn't comprehend the talent that we were bringing in. We didn't bring in anybody that could supplement these guys if they went down. So as far as the offensive line goes, this has been the key area as far as why this offense hasn't run as well as it should be. But as far as I know, a lot of people who think that I'm being hypocritical because I have so much, opinions towards what's going on with the offense. I think in the same sentence, Bill O'Brien has to start scheming towards the skills of what Deshaun Watson can do for us. So that way this offense can really open up. If we went to something like we had last year, we could play a game like we had against Seattle and easily wipe the floor with this Eagles team.
And what's the motherfucking deal to Jay Dizzle, Spurt the Dirt, McVice, and Jair? Good to see y'all. And anybody else I may have missed, man, I apologize. And no, I did not threaten Nick Wright. So if he said something nice that was of his own merit, maybe somebody put some mole rat extermination or some pellets or something out for him, maybe he's sick. Who knows? Fuck Nick Wright. And, it is what it is. But I kind of want to look at this situation. I know everybody was asking about the Sauce Nation Pro Bowl vote. And I have the votes in, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do some little things to make it look a little bit better. So I'll announce those tomorrow. So we'll be live Saturday Sauce, yes, 7 days a week, every night at 7. So y'all ain't even gotta ask. Every night at 7, then always at 10. Well, maybe 10, 15 sometimes. But so we'll do that tomorrow. So what I will allow y'all to do is if y'all want to get votes in till midnight, because I had a couple come in right before the stream started, didn't really adjust too much, but again, y'all can still, I'll still take some more votes. You can vote on IG, you can vote on Twitter, you can vote on the post that I put up basically with the image on YouTube, the little community tab post thing. So again, though, getting back to it, looking at these defenses, you got on the Eagles, you have Michael Bennett, you got Fletcher Cox, you got Chris Jones. You got some guys that have been or currently still are notable names in this league. I think it's Fletcher has 7.5. I think Bennett has 8. And there's a lot of hype on all that Eagles pass rush. It's super serious. But then if you look at it, JJ has just as many sacks, again, coming off the injuries and everything, as practically those two guys combined. So I'm not super overly hyped about that now. I think the Texans have 39 sacks on the year. And then the Eagles have 36 sacks on the year. So it's not that big of a difference. But the big difference is the Eagles have only given up 36 sacks. The Texans have given up 52. Again, so we can put a little bit of that on Deshaun, but the majority of that, the overwhelming majority of that is on that defensive line. How do you think that that's going to fare out? How is that going to play out for the Texans, Darren? I mean, do you see that Eagles pass rush being able to stop the Texans, or is their secondary too porous that Deshaun will be able to get out and make plays before that pass rush gets to him? I mean, how do you feel about that situation?
It all depends on Bill O'Brien and his play calling. I mean, that's a 50-50 call. It can really go either way. If Bill O'Brien calls the right plays and make sure that guys are paying attention to situational football and knowing their keys and their assignments, of course, I do see us having success against their secondary. Now, on the other side of that coin, if guys aren't just winning their one-on-one matchups, it could be a long day for Watson. And that's something that, as a Texans fan, it just hurt me a little bit to have to say, but that's the common fact, So I gotta speak the real.
And your thoughts on that, Teddy? I mean, how do you feel about that pass rush and compared with their secondary? We kind of talking right before the stream that we see some similar situations, as far as we have that front seven that can, get to the ball. Our secondary can be a little bit questionable at times. And that could go to play call, that could go to talent. But the Eagles secondary has been kind of decimated, and they're not that talented. So there's similarities there. But what do you see with that Eagles defense and how they'll be able to apply pressure on Deshaun? Or do you think Deshaun will be able to kind of overcome that with that suspect secondary that they have and the talent that we have at the wide receiver position?
So the talent that we have at wide receiver matches up well against what they're going to be throwing at us as far as the secondary for the Eagles. They're not going to be able to stop us, but the whole thing hinges on pretty much is if we're going to use our talent. There's a total separation there. If we pick the wrong route trees or we have the wrong scheme going into this game, you're going to see a quiet DeAndre Hopkins in the first half. You're going to see a quiet Demaryius Thomas. You're going to see a quiet DeAndre Carter. You're going to see quiet Jordans, the two Jordan brothers, Akins and Thomas. You're going to see them quiet. You're going to even see Ryan Griffin quiet. It all depends on how we come into this game and how we want to attack them. The Eagles secondary cannot stand up to the talent of what we have at the wide receiver spot, just for the simple fact that if we could get them on slants, if we could get them on short routes, something that could utilize the speed of Hopkins, utilize the speed of Carter, utilize the sizes of both Akins and Thomas, and the fact that you could utilize the size of Demaryius Thomas, we could be getting first downs all day and moving right down the field. And it would be no problem for us at all. The biggest problem with it is if we get these long-ass route trees that O'Brien likes to use, their defensive front can get to Watson very quickly. And they have a really good way of keeping the quarterback contained. They don't lose discipline when they're rushing. The edge rushers, they kind of hold their end up, and the defensive tackles kind of hold their end up. And you got to think about it, man. When everybody can maintain their lane, you're pretty much looking at a situation where there's not going to be a huge hole for Deshaun Watson to get out. So Bill O'Brien's going to have to be rolling him out. Bill O'Brien's going to have to move that line. We've had some plays in this season where the whole line shifts all the way left and Deshaun follows and gets the ball off. Or we could even do it to the right. I mean, it's going to depend on a whole lot of that, and we can't be just running up against the middle on these guys. The Colts have proven to us, the Jets have proven to us that is no longer an option. We will sell out to stop you. And it has worked in the last 2 weeks. We did win against the Jets, I know that, but this isn't the Jets team. This is the Eagles team, and they're playing good again. So this defense is going to be hard to stop. And I got to be honest with you right now, man. Our defense has to be prepared to go into this. We cannot be on this fucking zone-ass shit where our secondary is just going to give up first down after first down against this Eagles fucking passing game. I mean, because we all know Darren Sproles can kill you. Darren Sproles can kill you. I'm not so much worried about the screens because our guys have played really good against screens. They've treated them almost like runs. We get hats on the ball. So, I mean, there's not a big worry about a screen pass destroying us in this game. But at the same time, it's Darren Sproles. You have to respect this man no matter how old he is, no matter what you think of him right now. This guy can absolutely put his legs to work and put the speed on us. It's going to determine a lot about the discipline on our front seven. We have to do what the Eagles defense is going to do. We have to maintain our lanes. We can't give Nick Foles lanes to throw through. And that's really the big deal. I'm not worried about Foles running because, quite honestly, he's going to get his ass handed to him if a fucking linebacker just rolls through there and fucking knocks the fuck out of him. So that's not even a problem right there. The thing is that he's not the kind of guy that you want to give a lane to, because if he could see a wide receiver open, he will take that shot. He will check it down. So, I mean, I really feel it comes down to scheme and how we're going to use the talent of both sides of the ball. Let the quarterbacks go out there and play man on man. If they get beat, they get beat. It'll be for a first down. It's not going to be for a big play. Let the safeties do their job. The safeties will be over the top and knock the fuck out of somebody. Let them fucking wander around out there and fucking pick their targets. Let fucking J-Joe get up on somebody. Let Kareem get up on somebody. And then also, I mean, just let the fucking dog loose. Let's blitz the fuck out of these dudes, because their offensive line has been pretty atrocious at fucking stopping people to get into the quarterback.
And, man, you brought up a very good point, man, as far as, you know, looking at their running game and, you know, with us not opening up certain plays and us not doing certain things. Lamar Miller is dinged up, still kind of a game-time decision. And so if we go into this game and Lamar Miller's not available, I know a lot of people are talking about, you know, Deontay Foreman, and, you know, happy to see him back again. Y'all got to understand, it takes a couple of weeks to get back in action, so I wouldn't even expect to really see him, you know, looking remotely close to the Deontay Foreman we saw towards the end of last season, because it took him a little bit to develop that, but till the playoffs. And so my thing with this is, again, if you don't have your starting running back, if he's not available, what kind of situation does that put us in? Darren, I want to know kind of your thoughts on that situation, and what can the Texans do to, if Lamar Miller's not available, how do you feel like that impacts this offense?
Got to utilize, like Tenny just said, utilize everybody. I mean, it's not like we don't have guys that got some juice to their legs. I mean, like we've been speaking on the last couple of weeks, DeAndre Carter, he's one of those guys that if you give him the ball, he might be able to, you know, turn a corner on a jet sweep, or, you know, because we don't really run that a lot. And that's something that we haven't really put on film either. So that could be something that they probably won't be expecting. So, I mean, like I said, just you got to utilize everybody. But to go back to what the last one, and I'm not to, sorry about that, but we got to definitely make sure that Fletcher Cox is guarded. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure that he's blocked, because I know they got Bennett and that other dude you named, but Fletcher ain't no joke. And I'm really looking forward to see how Nick Martin holds up against him this game.
That's very interesting. And that's the thing, you know, because I want to say Kelemete was on limited practice this week, so that's always a very interesting situation. And I think when Manx is filling in for Kelemete, I feel like we get a better push as opposed to Fulton. I think Fulton's supposed to be good to go, so he should be all right. But Darren jumped off on us. But you know, my thing is this Texans offense, this Texan defense. You look at this Eagles offense, this Eagles defense, and again, like I say, you see a lot of the similarities. You see a lot of things that kind of work for both teams, but kind of want to flip the script. And we talked about, you know, Ertz being a legitimate threat because, you know, the Texans have trouble stopping tight ends for some reason. He's a quality tight end, again, over 100 receptions, over 1,000 yards already. So he's definitely going to be someone you have to look out for. But I think part of that came with Wentz and his propensity to want to throw the ball to Ertz a lot. I guess that safety valve, if you will. You mentioned Dallas go there and what he was able to do, and he had a little bit of shine. Again, you saw a lot of guys getting involved in the offense last game. You saw Jeffrey. You saw fucking Tate. You saw these guys spread the ball around, and I think that might have been part of the problem this year. Maybe the ball wasn't getting spread around as much with Wentz as it was with Foles. Foles is going to – I don't think he necessarily has a favor, and I think that the way – excuse me – the way that the team is reacting to it, I wonder if I question if, you know, that defense sees something differently in Foles, or maybe there's something that they like better about Foles as opposed to Wentz, because again, just the way that they're behaving, the way that, I mean, who does that for a backup, you know? And so it's very interesting. I think that they may feel a little bit more comfortable with Foles, and I think that's very telling considering what is this going to be Wentz next year, what his fourth year coming up in the league. And so, you know, you have to kind of wonder, well, what are they saying? You know, the fourth year, you know, are they going to try to go ahead and get that option? Or are they going to try to keep him? Or are they going to pay him a lot of money? You know, Foles, again, is supposed to be, he's due for $20 million next year if him and the team come to an agreement. And I don't see them paying a backup $20 million. So I've talked about that before, that I could see Foles in another uniform next year. So if we were just kind of going off the cuff, Tenny, you know, let's hypothetically say Foles is not an Eagle next year. What team around the league do you see that is in need of a veteran starter, of a need of a quarterback, period? Do you see a legitimate team attempting to pick up a guy like Foles? What are your thoughts on that one, Tenny?
First and foremost, Dorian, no, Foles is not a gamer. That motherfucker didn't even have a touchdown last week, so fuck that dude. But I do see him going probably to the Jags. Just trying to think, man. Foles would probably go Jags or fuck, man. I'm just trying to think of quarterback needy teams. I feel like the Cardinals are in a good spot to see what the hell happens with their quarterback. Shit, man. I feel like the Bills might be a spot. He could stay up north there. I don't trust their quarterback talent at all. I'd be Jags, Bills. Let's see. Jags, Bills. I'm trying to think of a third team that would really utilize him, or at least try to utilize him. You could probably see Washington. Washington would probably be a good spot. Washington would try to make a push for him because they don't have a fucking quarterback anymore. And Alex Smith ain't coming back. I'm telling you right now. Before they even report it, before they ever say it, they're speculating right now, but Alex Smith isn't coming back. I see Redskins, Jags, Redskins, Jags, maybe the Bucks or the Bills.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, right? While you were going, I could definitely see the Redskins, considering, you know, a veteran presence. That's kind of what they feel like they need. I could see the Jags too, because, you know, everybody talks about playoff Bortles, but you got a guy who actually was successful in the playoffs, and kind of a similar situation, because that defense is really what kind of carried them through last year more so than just Foles himself. Darren, your thoughts? Who could you see Nick Foles ending up on? Whose roster could you see him up on next year? And then we'll get ready to open the sauce line up after this. We'll start taking some calls and getting your thoughts and opinions.
Well, I'm not familiar with the New York area or how far Philly is from New York, but I think he would go to the Giants. You know, with what the weapons that they have already, you insert a Nick Foles, and if you can get that streaky Nick Foles, you can see Odell put up good numbers. You know, basically all their offensive weapons put up numbers, and not to mention they drafted Saquon, so they would have a legitimate running game, and with that first round pick, they could focus elsewhere instead of having to go and pick a young quarterback to have to teach, you know, and do all that, you know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, instead of, you already got a guy who's familiar, who's already been to the big game, as opposed to trying to go, you know, get hopeful on someone. So we got a couple of texts. I'm going to read these couple of texts, then we're going to open up the sauce line. We're going to take some calls and things like that. It says, hold on, first. Hold on, my fault. From Chandler says, shout out to Honcho, Tenny, and Darren. Appreciate the love, Chandler. Chandler always holding down the sauce, man. And then he says you can see the Vikings. That actually might be very pretty interesting. I didn't really think about them. Even though Foreman is returning from injury, or we have another text that says, even though Foreman is returning from injury, he should have a good straight line speed when running downhill. He will be having fresh legs. And I mean, that is a plus. The fresh legs, I think, is a very undervalued thing, you know, because a lot of guys are being banged up. Guys are playing through injuries. They're playing through pain and everything else. With Foreman, you got a guy, like I say, he's just really trying to get his juice back. And once he gets that back again, you know, it'll be nice, because you got a guy who's not going to be as frustrated, not worried about taking the hits and things like that. Say the Bengals too. You think the Bengals would be willing to come off the Red Rocket? I don't know. I think they're committed to it. If they could be as committed as they've been to Marvin Lewis, I think they're going to be the Red Rocket, Red Rifle, whatever the fuck it is. I think he's going to be around for a while. Oh, my fault. I ain't even had the the bank open, so I apologize for that.
You know what? There's a reason why they shut him down early over some stupid ass little injury that he had. They don't plan on replacing the Red Rocket anytime soon.
That's terrible. Well, good for us if we ever see him in the playoffs again, because there's that.
Yeah.
All right, so like I said, we're gonna open up the sauce line, man. We're gonna take some calls while we speak on a couple other points, man. But again, like I said, Nick Foles being the backup, that's interesting. We kind of mentioned about who's going to be able to stop Hopkins, and the fact that they think that they have guys that can really get out there and compete is going to be very interesting. I think Hopkins is going to put on a show. We talked about, the sack comparison. We've talked about, the pass rush between both teams. And again, it's just going to really, I think a lot of it's going to hinge on this Texans offensive line and what they're going to be able to do. I guess I should put the right ear gear in, and we can take some of these calls. Hold on. All right, what we got? What's the motherfucking deal we got calling on the sauce line this evening?
Hey, what's up, Honcho? This is Ernest, man.
Ernest, man. What's the motherfucking deal, Ernest? What you want to drop on the sauce line tonight, man?
Yeah, on the aspect of the game, bro, something I want to throw out there. When it comes to the Eagles beating the Rams, bro, like, if I'm not mistaken, the Rams have lost 3 games in a row. It's been a lot of chatter about Jared Goff. Bro, this dude, man, he got some crazy turnovers over the past 3 weeks, and his TDs ain't been there. So my point is, the Rams are not playing their best ball. So it might be a little inflated, that win the Eagles got. Nonetheless, they got it against a good team, but they not playing their best ball right now, man. So we going into with us going into Philly, it's like, as far as the matchup, man, this is what I see. I agree with everything the round table said, man, but we gotta exploit that secondary. We got to get that running game going and pretty much win at the line of scrimmage, which they got a good offensive line, man. No doubt about it. I think, man, they got like 3 Pro Bowlers on their offensive line. So it's gonna be tough for us. But at the end of the day, I just think we are the better team, and I just think that they got something to play for, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. But hey, we got something to play for too by holding on to that number 2 seed. But the main thing is, bro, I just think right now this Eagles team is not the same team that they was last year, and I believe we're going to go in there and crush the hype, man. That's what I got. Appreciate it.
Already, man. Appreciate the call, Ernest, man, and I have to agree with you, man. I really do, because the Rams have not necessarily looked the same. They haven't looked like the dominant team. I think they had a couple of injuries, too, in that game. Goff is kind of, regressing a little bit. And I think you got 2 different. I personally feel like Deshaun is a bit like. I think what people don't account for with Deshaun, they may say, "Oh, he doesn't have numbers like such and so and so." Those guys don't have offensive lines like Deshaun. And so if they had to deal with the same pressure that he did, I think you'd have a different situation going on. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the sauce line this evening?
It's your boy Roman.
Already, Roman. What's the motherfucking deal? What you want to drop on the sauce line this evening?
All right, man. First of all, I just want to say what's up to my nigga Honcho, Darren, and of course my nigga Toxic City Kenny, bro. That's first of all I want to say.
Really?
And all right, so this is how I feel real quick. I'm looking at these matchups, and everything y'all said I agree with about exploring the second day, like what Ernest said the last call, and just find a way for Deshaun to read the blitzes. Everything y'all said I totally agree with. But this is my X factor. I really think that DeAndre Carter kid we picked up was going to be the X factor. Let me tell you a couple of reasons why. I think the Eagles know their secondary is weak. They know their secondary is their weak point, is what's hurting their team. So I feel like they're going to do their best to try to double team Hopkins, probably put safety on them. Same goes for the Mariners. They know those are 2 best receivers. They're going to try and make sure to just lock them down and make sure they're just not in the game. So I think that's where DeAndre Carter comes in. He gonna come in. He gonna catch them jet passes. He gonna catch some screens. He's gonna catch those slants. And it's also a revenge game because he was with the Eagles. So I just think he's the X factor. I think he's gonna have a big game, and I think he's gonna be the X factor of this game. I think he's gonna be the one people are gonna underestimate and rack up the yards. This would be. I wish Fuller was playing this game, because this would be a good game for him. That speed we need to burn them corners, man, that'd be some good football right there. But he injured, so that's that. And then when it comes for the defense, man, you know, these last couple games, man, I love our defense, and we're good defense. I'm not saying we're not elite, but you know, I've been looking at our pressures, man. We get pressures, we get tackles for losses, but I don't know, man. Like I said, I want to see a little bit more intensity. I know this team can get more sacks. I know this team can put up 6 sacks a game. I can tell. You know, I just want us to get more there. And that starts with play calling. Rack needs to call better plays, man. It's no way Mercer's big ass should be dropping back in the passes, man. He's too damn big. You put his ass in the dirt, he going to get some pressure. He's going to get tackles for loss. He's going to get sacked. So I just hope they work on that, get the play calling going, make sure these players can just sack some people, and then, of course, the secondary. But secondary, I always said, all we can do is pray for the secondary. I'm not saying we ain't got good players on secondary because Kareem's having a good season. J. Joe is still effective. I love Honey Badger, but, you know, that goes on play calling, too. It's just calling the right plays for your players. You got to know your players to call the right plays. So, you know, that's all I got. And like I say, vote your butt for the Pro Bowl, and I'm out, man.
Already, man. Shout out to Roman, man. Yeah, you heard it, man. Hey, look, you still got a few last-minute votes. You know, make sure y'all vote for your boy Roman.
Yeah, boy. Your boy Roman is a consistent caller, man. I deserve it, man.
Already, man. Appreciate the call.
All right, man. What's up to the round table, man?
Already. So yeah, man, like I said, and I agree, man, Carter could be an X factor. Like I say, we saw that one big play from him last game, and I think that has to put a little bit of something in the mind of the coaches. Okay, this kid may really have a little bit of something. You know, there may be ways that we can utilize his talent, even though we're just using him as a backup until Kuti returns. And I don't know about the health status of Kuti because, again, limited in practice so far this week. I'm gonna be honest. Anytime if I don't see him healthy, having full practices, I'm cautious. You know, what you got there, Ted, man?
Yeah, I was getting hit up. See if we can get that sauce line in the chat, so that way more people can get a call in.
Hold on, I muted myself and shit. 832-639-DRIP. That's 3747-832-639-DRIP. Again, so make sure y'all call in if y'all aren't necessarily looking at the screen, so that way y'all can call into the sauce line. We got a call coming in here. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the sauce line this evening?
Hello?
Hello. Who we got calling on the sauce line this evening?
Hey, how's it going, Ed, man? This Edwin Baptiste, man. I'm just calling in. I want to speak on this Eagles matchup, man. I honestly favor this matchup. And but hold on, my bad. Let me back it up a little bit. I just want to say, man, I love what you do, man. I ain't gonna lie. Ain't too many YouTube channels or too many. Pretty much, you know, we already know how the media is. They don't really talk about the Texans.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate what y'all do because this is my go-to, man, for all my Texans details, all my information. This is my go-to.
Already.
But yeah, man, I favor this matchup, man, and I really think we're gonna whoop their ass. I think this is gonna be our statement game going into the playoffs with the momentum and everything. We're gonna have it rolling, man. We beat this team and the Jags, we gonna walk through their asses and shit. I mean, we just gotta take care of our business come Sunday, man. And I honestly think this team, I'm looking at this team right now as an AFC Championship team or a Super Bowl contender, honestly.
Okay.
But we just got to take care of this business with the Eagles. If I see us fall short with these Eagles, man, I really don't have too much hope for these Texans in the playoffs. But if they take care of their business on Sunday, just watch them boys. Watch what they're going to do in the playoffs.
Okay, man, I can agree with you on that, man, because I think it's a situation. I think these last few games are all playoff games for the Texans, and we've even heard some of the players basically come out and say, you know, Clowney kind of said it. Honey Badger came out and said, this is a game we got to take real serious. We got to come out and punch them in the mouth. We expect a fist fight. And ultimately, every game counts, you know, as far as your seeding, as far as your positioning. So you have to play hard every game. And if the Texans can't come out and show that they're competing with a team who won it last year, kind of back in the same position that they were, they got that hunger back, they trying to fight the same way, then we might not be ready. So I think that this is a statement game. It
Exactly.
does say a lot about this team. So I definitely agree with what you're saying there, Edwin. And again, I appreciate you showing love to the sauce too, man. We appreciate that. We definitely
Oh
appreciate
man, no
that.
problem, man. I just joined, man. Like I said, I'm gonna be tuning in every day, man. I just became a fresh ingredient. So
Already, man.
so
That's
man,
what
like
I'm
I said, man, keep doing what y'all doing, man, and I'm gonna keep showing support, and hopefully we can, you can grow this thing into something big.
Already, man. I appreciate that. Sincerely appreciate that, man. Thank you, and we appreciate the call, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Already. Man, shout out to Edwin. Fresh ingredient, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's what it's all about, man. Again, ultimately, like I said, ain't no sauce without the fresh ingredients. So we appreciate that support, man. We appreciate that love. Got a text here. Says, I think this game is going to come down to two things. 1 field goal and 2, a game-winning touchdown. Man, I think it could be something similar to what we saw. I mean, it could be, like I say, like Tenny mentioned earlier, man. If it's an ugly win, we'll take it because this is one of those games where – this is a team that's fighting. This is a team that knows what it takes to get there. They've been kind of falling short so far. Don't short yourself. That'll be a bad situation. Falling short so far this season. And, now, they feel like they have a chance. So they're going to fight, definitely. They're going to definitely fight. The Jags, they don't have anything to play for, but they're going to fight because they want to upset whatever we're doing. So you got to, keep these things in mind. Don't look at the records. Don't let the records fool you. These are going to be good games. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the sauce line this evening?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, I just want to talk about y'all Texans, man. This is the time to get y'all's teams straightened out before the playoffs even start.
All right. But first, who we got calling in, man?
This is Dorian. This is Tenny's homeboy, the Charger fan.
Okay, what's up, Dorian? What's the motherfucking deal? Any friend of Tenny is a friend of mine, man. What you want to drop on them Texans, man?
I just want to say that now's the time to get primed up. Take care of business. We only got 2 weeks left, and then the real showdown gonna begin. So everybody need to handle their business if you got a playoff spot already ready to go.
Already. So got to handle it, but yeah, and I agree.
Yeah.
Man. It's gonna be interesting. So how you feeling about your Chargers right now, man? How you feeling about trying to overtake KC?
I'm happy. We got a big game this week against the Baltimore Ravens. Mm-hmm. Everybody talking about Weddle knows our offense, this, that, and the third, but I don't think it's gonna matter because our quarterback is a genius. He's smart. Yeah. Okay. We ain't taking no L's, Kenny. I'm sorry, baby. We about to close out our division. Everybody think we ain't gonna win it, but Kansas City, I think they're gonna lose to Seattle this week.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're gonna get this dub, finish out, and then it's gonna be a wrap. We're gonna win our division, and we're gonna go in strong in the playoffs and make this run.
Already. That's what's happening, man. That's what's up, man. Dorian, man, I appreciate you calling in, man.
And make this run. That's what's happening, man. That's what's up, man. Dorian, man.
we go call a rabbit. But I appreciate you calling in, Dorian. There, I'm trying to give a little time to rebuttal. But man, you appreciate that. Look, it ain't even all just Texans fans. We got fans from all over the land. So hopefully we end up having to see them Chargers in the playoffs, and you'll be able to call back. And we'll be able to splash some sauce on that whole conversation right there, man. But so far with some of the calls that have come through, man, I want to kind of throw it up. Is there any points that have stood out to either two of you gentlemen in the round table that y'all have heard? Anything that y'all want to kind of expand on? I've heard Roman, he was saying, matchups, DeAndre Carter being the X factor. Ernest was talking about he doesn't think that this Eagles team is as good as it was. What do y'all got?
I want to speak on the whole. Go ahead.
I know he said that DeAndre Carter might be the X factor, but I'm gonna go defense on this, and this is as a whole. Tackling is gonna be, and I'm talking about making surefire tackles, being able to bring your guy down. That's going to be the X factor in this game because, like we saw last, my bad. As we've seen in the past, guys will be taking the right angles, and then next thing you know, whiff, and next thing you know, we're seeing the opposite player run up the sideline, and that can't happen in this game because they are too talented. I'm not going to say too talented, but they have a ton of talent, and you can't let those guys run free. You got to bring them down. If they beat you on the play, it's football. That happens. But you got to at least be able to bring the guy down and mitigate a 6-yard play from being a 60-yard play.
Is there a specific player that you feel on defense is going to step it up a notch that's going to particularly be that X factor?
Yes, I do. I definitely think Dylan Cole is going to play a vital role in this game.
Okay.
And my reason for saying that is because Philly likes to go 2 tight end sets. So you got to match that. And this may, like I was telling Farrell earlier, this might knock down McKinney's numbers a little bit, but it might help the defense as a whole if they're going 2 tight end sets. If we sub Kenny out for Cole or and Cunningham, this way you can cover those guys and you can help your defense out instead of trying to have McKinney out there in space doing something that he's uncomfortable doing. It's like we've been basically saying. You just got to put your players in the right position. If we do that and tackle well, I do believe we have real good success in this game. What you got, Denny?
So what I wanted to speak to is the fact that I do think DeAndre Carter is going to have an effect on this game. I think it's just one of those situations where you get fired up. You just ready to play against your old team. So I think DeAndre Carter is definitely going to be there, and he's definitely going to be that guy for us this season. One thing I want to really point out is that Nick Foles isn't as unbeatable as some people think he is. He just runs well into the system. And, Nick Foles was 24 or 31 for 270 yards, 0 TDs, and one interception. He had a QBR rating of 67.1. Back when we played him, he didn't do any of that shit.
What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the sauce line this evening? Hello. Who we got calling on the sauce line this evening?
Hey, this is Cheney's homeboy, Tremaine.
Alrighty, Tremaine, what you want to drop on the sauce line this evening?
Hey, on a serious note, I like what y'all doing on here. There's not too many platforms that got for football on the YouTube and stuff, so big ups on that. But yeah, like my boy SD was talking about, their Chargers not going nowhere, man. Like I say, outside of maybe the Texans, and maybe the Chiefs, those are really the only 2 teams that I see really coming out, the AFC. Because on a realistic, from a Pats fans, y'all going to be the team of the future in the AFC. But like I say, right now, on paper, y'all are super dope, though. But y'all just got to put it together, man.
Okay, and I can agree with that, man, because the things that they, even though we've been getting the wins, I don't feel like everything has quite come together the way we would like to see, and I think that's kind of been the big beef between, because a lot of Texans fans are on both sides of it. And I can agree with that, because we expect a little bit more, but like I say, if you're getting the wins in the long run, I can be cool with that, but you do expect to see growth, man.
Yeah, most definitely, but yeah, man, so like I say, it's a week-to-week game, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, that's the bet, Tremaine, man. I appreciate you calling in.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Already. I say, okay. See, look. Tenny ain't just he ain't just holding it down for. He has a variety of friends. He ain't just all Texans fans. So he getting sauce from around the league already. So getting a real perspective.
I'm telling you, man. But before we headed up here, there was me, True, and D. That's all we used to do. Talk football. We've been doing this since 2011, man.
Already. We'll take this call. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the sauce line this evening?
Hey, it's your boy Josh again, man.
Josh, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop on the sauce line tonight?
All right, man. But this game, man, not saying I'm going to repeat myself. We've been saying this all week. I feel like this is the biggest game in our franchise history, just due to the fact that how wide open the AFC is. Anybody can pretty much beat anybody. Anybody can go on a run. To be honest, the easiest way we can go on a run is if we win this game today, man. And I'm just excited to see if this one player that, I've been keying on for this whole entire time for these weeks, man. I'm excited to see if ckin is finally going to be able to play after a couple of weeks because, I'm not saying that one player changed the offense, but we need this player desperately bad. And I don't want to be no downer, but I believe if ckin don't play, I believe he might not even have a chance because honestly, although I like the Carter kid, I don't want to and I think that's what the team is doing too. I don't like him getting too many passes for him to catch the ball because I don't want him to take like cheap shots from the defense because mostly everybody knows that the Carter kid is pretty much our special teams guy, and it wouldn't surprise me if, knock on wood, they would try to take that man out that game because, God forbid, if he goes down, then there's our special teams and there's our slot receivers. So it's really important that he plays this game if he really could, man. Okay. And I believe if he plays this game, I believe we win this game, honestly.
Okay. And I think so. I can agree with that, too, because he's an extra weapon on that offense. All right. Well, that's a bet, man, Josh. I appreciate your call, man.
All right, man.
Already. I think we're gonna make that the last call. We're gonna have a little bit of a shorter sauce today. We're gonna get ready. I'm gonna point out a couple of things, then we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. But man, I appreciate everybody who's called in tonight. Like I say, we doing this. We got a text here. Let me read these texts real quick. But like I say, we're gonna do this 7 nights a week, man. 7 o'clock, sauce at 7 for the Den crew. Den at 10. Let's see. Voodoo says Dick Foles is clocked getting the ball out at an average of 2.1 seconds. Pass rush ain't getting home. And they look, Clowney going to have to use all the speed he got to get there. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. But again, like I said, I think that kind of determines on, if this secondary can get some coverage sacks, if you will. They're going to have to be able to hold their own a little bit. I think that's going to be very interesting. But what Josh was saying about Kiki, and I agree because, DeAndre Carter, again, we mentioned it the other night, that is a lot of weight on his shoulders, especially for being a relatively new guy. Just, you're looking, he's just a backup slot, but he's the returner. And we saw what happened when he went out the other day. We had Matthew back there returning. It was not a good look for the Texans, man. It ended up kind of hindering us a little bit. So you don't want too much in his hands. And then, we've seen him earlier when he first got here, he had a little bit of fumbleitis, and so, you're kind of cautious about that risk in that situation. And so, again, but I like him. I like what he's able to do. I like his explosiveness. And so I'm not too, upset with that. But like I say, I will do the announcement of the Sauce Sports, Sauce Sports Pro Bowl tomorrow. So, again, you can still get your last minute little votes in. I've seen a couple of folks text a couple more in just while we've been here. But there was another point I wanted to make. I forgot about it. But round table, man, you gentlemen have anything you want to say before we get ready to slide up out of here?
Man, if we get Kiki back, it definitely elevates our offense because now you have 2 slot guys to worry about. Not to mention Hopkins and DT on the outside. One thing I'm definitely looking forward to seeing is if Bill O'Brien uses either Jordan Akins or Jordan Thomas. If I don't care if it has to, if you're lining them up as a fullback, I don't care. Send them out. Hell, if they're pretty much, even if you're sending them out on a flat route, that a defender has to account for him. So whatever coverage they're in, that defender is going to open a hole somewhere. So, again, like we were saying, I just hope Bill O'Brien really comes with it and says, okay, this is playoff football. This is playoff time. So the attention to detail, and I haven't decided if I'm going to do a video on this or not, but if I do, that's definitely what I'm going to be talking about, attention to detail, because come playoff time, this is where you got to play your best football. You can't go out there having false start penalties in the red zone. You can't do that. That's not winning football.
And Tim, man, you got anything before we slide up out of here?
I mean, just shout out to the chat. Shout out to Dorian and True. I've been telling them to come through for a little bit. I'm glad they finally did, man. Just to tell y'all, man, just to show y'all, man, there's other guys out there. There's the other fans of teams that are looking at this. And we're catching on a few of people's attention because, like Tremaine said, man, there's nothing really like this out here on this platform right now. Everybody gets a voice. Everybody gets their seconds. I expect to see them come through a lot more. I expect to see them calling a lot more. So I want to hear some more from our fans. I want to see more of y'all. I love hearing from Josh. I love hearing from Chandler and everybody else, but I want more of y'all to get more involved in this. I don't care if you got to get your mama's phone. I don't care if you got to get on the laptop and get on the McDonald's Wi-Fi, man. We invite this stuff because without y'all, we don't have this. And I really, really do enjoy having these conversations with y'all. I really do getting up on here and just talking football, man. It's a passion of mine. I always love football. I know y'all love football because y'all here with it. Just stay with it, guys, because when the season's over, then you got the Rockets. And then I'm going to start paying attention to the SaberCats. Hector's got the Dynamo. Hector's also got the Astros. And Ray Ray's got the Astros. So, I mean, y'all just keep up with it, man. We're going to keep stirring this flavor year round. So these conversations don't have to stop. Just here. Keep it going, guys. I love y'all showing up and doing what y'all do.
Already, exactly. Like I say, it's not just Texas. You know, we talking Texas now because it's the hot take, and I've been telling you I'm gonna get back on my Rockets. But I've been just doing some other things, and like I say, honestly, the last 2 days I haven't been feeling super hot, so you know I've just kind of been a little bit lackluster. But man, like I said, man, we're gonna give y'all year-round flavor of H-Town sports. Even if you're not a fan of H-Town, man, your conversations are always welcome. We ain't hating on nobody. As long as you come in here and you respectful about the situation, we'll talk about, you know, whatever you want to. And the fact that he just mentioned that we've had fans from other teams call in, and some of y'all been fucking with this flavor for a long time. A long time. Ain't never called in. Shout out to Edwin Baptiste. I believe he was first time calling, man. Again, fresh ingredient. So, you know, we definitely welcome you for that. And again, like you said, is Dorian and Tremaine. Ernest always holding down. Roman holding it down. Again, make sure you get your last few votes in. Top 5 callers, top 5 in the chat, and then your top 2 for the round table. Man, get those votes in. Like I said, I'll stop taking them probably at midnight, and then like I say, I'll work on some things. So we'll have us a little special sauce stream tomorrow at 7, and we'll show all the love. Oh man, make sure too tomorrow. If y'all fucking with H-Town and you fucking with all, I'm talking about all H, make sure you watch that Charlo brothers fight. Both of them fighting tomorrow, and it's going to be going down. It's going to be 2 damn good fights because them Charlos are magnificent. So definitely, if you representing for the city, you holding it down for the city, make sure you show the Charlos some love because I think that should be on Fox. So I think that should be available for everybody. But with that being said, man, appreciate each and every last one of y'all, man. Y'all are the freshest motherfucking ingredients. Like Tenny said, man, without y'all, there is no sauce. With no ingredients, you ain't got no sauce. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I want to say shout out to Tenny, shout out to Darren Davis for coming through, man, a.k.a. Swisher, holding down the round tonight. Again, we'll be in the den at 10. I got a couple of interesting topics. So we might, y'all know, I know y'all always saying I'll be woman bashing, but I don't know. I'll try not to woman bash in the den tonight because I don't think I'll be doing that. I think y'all just be falsely accusing me. But we'll talk about something good in the den tonight. So if you want to continue to have good conversation, make sure you subscribe to the den channel. Like I say, we do that every night at 10, and just various conversations about what's going on in life. It was a good conversation last night. We got to talk about starchy jeans. Y'all don't know about them starchy archies, man. Starching your jeans, man. Stay flow. We took a throwback with the old Mortal Kombat codes, the Contra code. We was talking about a whole bunch of old school stuff last night. So make sure y'all focus that den, man. That's good conversation. But with that being said, man, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Most of all, y'all stay saucy. With that being said, hey, man,